on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews, stimulating conversations, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs. Follow the leader at KBLA 1580.
Keep following the leader.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
Don't you driving me insane? Your stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games. Man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
We're so accustomed to justifying our happiness with conditions that we can't just sustain happiness without something that causes us to focus ourselves into happiness.
So that was my condition. Are you saying that?
What we're saying is, so the reason that you all came into this physical experience is because you understood from your non-physical perspective the benefit of focus, the fun of focus, the expansion of focus. So we want to say to you that in your appreciation of each other, would you say, because it sounds like that as you explain it to all of us, that in time, the focus that you were giving each other was not expansive enough to feed your continual becoming. It's a little bit like Jerry and Esther would be in San Diego, and they would go to La Jolla, where the rocks were flat and the sun had warmed them. And they would lie on the rocks, and they could hear the ocean, and there was the mist from the ocean coming up over them. It was like the perfect physical sensation of the warmth of the rocks, the cool of the air, the cool of the breeze, and then the warmth of the sun. It was like a sort of perfect environment, a perfect condition in order to be happy. And so they would put themselves there, and they would be there for second after second after second. And after about 10 minutes, Esther could hear Jerry's fingers thumping on the rock, because he'd had about all of that he could stand. In other words, there just wasn't enough in that, delicious as it was, there wasn't enough to satisfy the motion forward that he desired. And so Esther would pretend like she didn't notice it. And so she would ignore it. And then she would feel him sit up. She wouldn't look. She would refuse to look. She didn't want to engage in conversation because she knew as soon as they got talking that she'd be sitting up and they'd be packing up and they'd be on their way to something else because there just wasn't enough there. And so that's sort of what we're getting at here, is that appreciation is such a wonderful thing, but when you are engaging with one another, here's what it is. The potential for leading edge beingness is so peaked at all times that you just can't hold yourself back from it. We think it's something like that.
A lot of people love that woman. That's Abraham Hicks. You know, Abraham is believed to be some spiritual entity that enters this woman or enters her and her husband and delivers divine messages. Esther and Jerry Hicks. So their presentation is called Abraham Hicks because I guess this entity is called Abraham, and she channels information. But what was very beautiful about what she was talking about leads right into my topic tonight. A lot of people, listen, I'm getting inundated with topics, and I am grateful. Keep them coming. All you got to do is email me at VOR, like Voice of Reason, VOR106@gmail.com, your topic suggestions, and I will whip them into an expansive subject, as is the case for tonight's topic, which is why I chose that Abraham Hicks clip. Tonight's topic, the help hangover. A deeper look at when you're tired of helping your significant other understand. And when doing this, understand a problem, understand you, understand something you're going through, a situation, whatever. Sometimes we get help fatigue. What if you're trying to help your partner do something? Maybe start a business, maybe, they want to become an entrepreneur, and you have resources, and you recognize, because you know you can recognize when somebody doesn't really have what it takes to manifest what they desire. When do you get tired of helping, tired of assisting, tired of supporting? I've got questions. What is conditional help in a relationship? What is it? Have you ever experienced it? Is it help with a time limit? You know that time limit your family members used to give you when your mama kicked you out and you went to go stay with auntie. She said, listen, you got 30 days to figure it out. You can stay on my couch. What I'm trying to say is help that way in our relationships. Does it have an unspoken time limit? What is conditional help in relationship? What is conditional understanding? Can you only understand for so long? 1-800-920-1580. What is well, we already know what conditional love is. Eesh. What is conditional empathy? In relationships? Now, I've empathized and I care and all, but damn. Oh, this is about to be crazy. What is conditional support? I can only support you for so long. You know we do that to our kids. Listen, you're grown now. Oh, let's not act like conditional empathy isn't a thing. We already know about conditional forgiveness, which actually doesn't even make any sense. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the person. It's for you. What are some examples of conditional empathy, conditional understanding, conditional love, conditional support? Do you guys have examples? I want you to call in and share your thoughts with me. 1-800-920-1580. Does compassion for your significant other have a time limit? Ugh. Yeesh. How much battery life do you have for being understanding towards your significant other? My battery is low. My understanding battery is low. My empathy battery is low. You can run out of the capacity to care. Oh, 1-800-920-1580. Somebody, I don't know who I'm ministering to tonight, but this is what happens in real life relationships. People do not get that Disney app. It's only going to fool you. You're going to go back and watch those nostalgic cartoons, Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. None of your relationships are nothing like that. There is no Prince Charming. I'm here to tell you there is no Princess Charming. How much battery life do you have for being understanding towards your significant other is a nuclear bombshell of a question. How do you unconditionally love in a romantic relationship? Have you ever experienced unconditional love? Have you ever loved without demand? Have you ever loved without stipulation? Or you got to do this, you got to be this. It's got to. Have you ever loved without any of that? Is that practical? 1-800-920-1580. Does your care/empathy come with conditions? What causes conditional love? Who raised you? When we come forward, the voice of reason will deal with all of this stuff, and we got callers online already. Let's get it.
The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings will disappear. You're listening to the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Has child support suspended your license? Illegal. Has child support been reported on your credit report? Illegal. Log on to childsupportersfraud.com for more information.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
Thanks to our new sponsor, Lendistry. Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered in Los Angeles. Lendistry helps small business owners access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit Lendistry, LENDISTRY.com/KBLA today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I'm here with Lisa Stevens, Senior Business Consultant with Chase for Business. Lisa, what's one tip you'd give to business owners here in the Crenshaw area?
I love that you asked that question. I'm originally from Brooklyn, and I grew up in an area that's very similar to Crenshaw. So this is near and dear to my heart. And if I could only leave a business owner with one, I would tell the business owner to identify their why. And I think that is so important because your why is going to be that strength on those days where you feel like you're struggling. Your why is going to be that stepping stone. Those days that you want to give up, your why is going to be the reason that you get back up.
And how would you advise business owners looking to acquire capital? What do they need to know before stepping inside the branch to ask for funding?
So, three things. I do want to share this when it comes to the power of capital and just finding those resources. understand that capital is a three-part of a business, right? It's not always about the monetary piece, but if you first put that intellectual, right, what do I need to know? That social, what do I need to know? That will help you to then package for that monetary piece. No matter who you're banking with, you should know your banker. Never walk into a bank and you're transactional only.
It's just like Lisa to drop gems. I'm Aisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got to get turned up for hip-hop. Hip-hop is turning 50 in August. And every now and again, I like to put a little shine on one of our unknown hip-hop legends. Last week, you guys, I played a record by a producer, man. This is a Puerto Rican cat out of New York, out of the Bronx. Mantronics produced a lot of early hip-hop stuff that was for the pop locker, that was for the breaker, that was for the MC. And what I loved about Mantronics, yes, he used samples, but he was so proficient with the beat machine that he would recreate the break beats on the beat machine. So he would sample the kick, he would sample the snare, and then he would play the drum rhythms himself to mimic the loops that everybody else was sampling. So it gave his sound a beat machine sound. He was considered the king of beats. I mean, this is 87, 86, 85, Mantronics. And the MC wasn't a great MC. He was just like a space holder. No disrespect, MCT. I'm not trying to dish you, dog. But the beats were the feature. And, man, when I tell you back in my pop locking days, the beats were specially made for ticking and talking. And I was rocking. Oh, I'm sorry. I digress. Tonight's topic on The Voice of Reason. So I'm just saying, you're going to hear a lot of Mantronic stuff tonight. But tonight's topic, very powerful topic, because people think we don't get tired of each other in relationships. And people think we don't get tired of positivity in relationships. We don't get tired of trying to be positive. We don't get tired of supporting. And what I started to find out, and this is really heartbreaking. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. I want to talk to you about your relationship fatigue. What I found is roughly, what is it? I think it was a clinician. I got it. I'm going to look it up and give you the actual data on it. But a clinician said the majority of relationships are conditional relationships, because we come from conditional homes. Many people assume that a parent loves their child unconditionally. But in fact, many parents love through the conditions they place on children. Now remember, children are sponges. So what are they doing? Modeling how to build relationships via the brick and mortar that they are being given by their parents. So you have a conditional parent or conditional parents. You tend to be a conditional kind of person in your relationships. And rarely do people find that bliss, the highest of the high, the most sublime, the most meaningful love. And it's unfortunate. What is conditional help in a relationship? I can only help you so much. Have you ever helped somebody to the point where you lost respect for them? Do men lose respect for constantly having to help a woman? Or is it just generally expected that that is what a man is supposed to do? We do know the reverse is true. If a woman has to keep helping you and keep supporting and keep riding and you keep stumbling, yo, boy, you about to stumble right about this relationship. 1-800-920-1580. Somebody call me and let me know. Nazarene X, Atlanta, Georgia is in the building. Talk to me, brother.
We right here off the top. What up, Ron? How you feeling right now, man?
I'm turned up tonight. You already know.
All right, for sure, man. The Zoa morning show was heavy, too.
Yes,
I was able to catch that on the way back down, man.
Yes,
but
sir.
my initial thought with this topic, prayerfully we could just build, is that unconditional love, or put it this way, like love for me is unconditional, but the tolerance is definitely conditional.
Conditional tolerance. That's huge. Talk to me.
Yeah, that's the difference between the two. And I was just feeling it out like, maybe the love is just an extension of yourself, or like, say, maybe even in simple terms, like an extension of acknowledgement, or just acknowledging something and purity, I guess. And maybe that could tie into people just wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to be understood, and all of that. So I think just in essence, coming from a place where I could say I can maintain unconditional love, it's even for those that say, like, I love the idea of humanity at large, or like our people, although I haven't met everyone individually. Like, naturally in my heart I have a sense of connection with them, a sense of adoration. And again, this is kind of just within a bubble of my own idea or my own imagination. But when it comes to actually interacting with people, I find myself able to extend an aspect of love regardless. So it's like, even say, it could be why people that respect themselves find it easier and natural to respect others, even strangers. Like, that's kind of what we would lead with in general, especially when we're not, say, behind enemy lines or dealing with a known threat or something like that. Like, in general, we just kind of carry ourselves how we raise. Like, that's love to me. But again, it's just, once these contracts, or like, let's say the silent contracts go, or like even relationships, I think the relationships themselves and that department, it does really come back down to a sense of conditions in terms of how intimately you're going to remain connected or interacting with this individual on a day-to-day basis, or how far things like that could go. And then on the help tip, man, that's a heavy piece. I remember some years back, I was really struggling with knowing when enough was enough. And overall, I was projecting that outward, right? I wasn't really keeping the lens or the scope on myself at the time, because once I was actually able to turn that mirror around, to turn the eye around, and just really just keep it on myself, like, when have I had enough or something, that helped me kind of just figure out what would tip those scales. But as you would say a lot of different times, you can't help somebody that's unwilling. You can take somebody, but so far you can participate in someone's experience, you can offer things, but really the breakthrough and the penetration of the change is always an inside job. It's always an individual decision. So sometimes the way that we can help others is by learning when to let go, or learning when to, again, keep our hands off, or to write that into like a set of conditions, I believe.
Well, let me ask you this, because this was deep. In our chat here, he who thinks states, he says, and I want to know your thoughts on this. I want to know your opinion on this. He says, I expect my woman to always need my assistance. And I'm just going to say, agree or disagree, realistic or unrealistic?
That's a good thing to challenge my mind on, but again, like that individual has his own idea about what his woman means to him. I imagine it's, he who thinks or whatnot. Like, put it this way. I believe it's realistic as men with a sound mind to, quote unquote, expect a woman to be receptive to our presence as we are receptive to theirs, receptive to the assistance of our women as they should be receptive to our assistance and so forth. Like, there's a reciprocity there. But that it could get tricky in a sense, I imagine, where it's like, again, you don't want to, I always come back to the little training wheels type of scenario, like when you're trying to teach a child how to ride a bike. And I kind of think of it in like a daddy teaching a daughter type of thing. Like, daddy doesn't never want his daughter to think that he will not be there to catch her when she falls or something like that. But the essence of,
But don't you think
so it's like,
one element is missing from that expectation? And that
what would you say the element would be?
And that is, you can only help the willing. And reciprocity is organic. This is not something that is by default. And it sounds like the way it is framed, the brother said, I expect my woman to always need my assistance. There might be times where she does not require or want your assistance. So that's why I asked you, true or false, agree or disagree.
Yeah, and that's what. Well, again, I don't mean any slight to the brother and leaning into it.
Oh, no disrespect to that.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on one second, Nazarene. Just hold tight. I got to come forward. When I come forward, I'm going to go back to Nazarene. I want you to marinate on that for a second. It's getting heated. Is your love conditional? And if it is, what are those conditions? Here we go.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The clock is ticking for TikTok. A growing number of Republican lawmakers want to give the president the ability to ban the social media site, citing ties to the Chinese Communist Party. The White House is ordering all federal agencies to wipe the app from government devices. A black woman and her two daughters won a discrimination lawsuit after two Castro Valley, California sheriff's officers were found guilty of illegally handcuffing the family and searching their car. It all happened outside of a Starbucks in 2019. The family was awarded $8.2 million. South Florida now has a lasting honor for the country's first black female U.S. Supreme Court justice. A portion of Southwest 184th Street in Miami is now Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson Street. Jackson hopes this designation will mean something to drivers. And that's the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Find everything you love listening to on Audible. Here's celebrity memoirs, mysteries, true crime, sci-fi, and more. Audible is the home of storytelling. audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Hi, I'm civil rights attorney Areva Martin, host of Areva Martin in Real Time. Weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m. right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Be sure to tune in weekdays at 4:35 p.m. starting Tuesday, March 7th for your daily download on the federal bribery trial of LA City Council member Mark Ridley Thomas. The case is sure to have many twists and turns, and our program will be the show of record in the case of United States versus Mark Ridley Thomas. We have our own seasoned justice correspondent who will be checking in with us to keep you up to speed on the daily details of this high-profile legal case. Be sure to tune into Areva Martin in Real Time, weekdays at 4:35 p.m. starting Tuesday, March 7th for United States versus Mark Ridley Thomas, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you feel sick, let them know it's COVID. Medication is key to solve the virus in your body. Recover smoother. You may test negative sooner. California, you know you need it. Get treated, you can beat it.
Yeah. Visit youcanbeatit.org or call 833-422-4255 to ask for medication to treat COVID-19. Sponsored by the California Department of Public Health.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Flex.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the voice of reason with Joe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
exposing me. I know that you're bold. In addition, I mentioned for reaching my tension, my bars I'll be fixing to take out every bit of competition. So please ahead, I swear my voice is clear.
So, let me tell y'all about this record. First off, this is part 2. This isn't the original. But this brother right here, his name was Just Ice. And if you're watching the Wu-Tang television show, in season 1 of the Wu-Tang television show, he had like not the original him, but a character who played him. His name was Just Ice. And what was so amazing about Just Ice, he was part of the hip-hop movement coming out of New York that brought the 5% doctrine to the forefront. The 5% doctrine was created, by a brother. They call him Father Allah or Puddin, And Clarence 13X was his name. And he was a student of Malcolm. And he took the Supreme Mathematics and started his own division or his own group when he left the Nation of Islam, called the 5%. Now, the belief system is predicated around breaking down, you have Supreme Mathematics and you have the Supreme Alphabet. And the belief system is predicated on breaking down the population into sections. So you have the 85 percenters. The 85 percenters are those who just don't know, blind, deaf, and dumb. They have no knowledge of self, right? Then you have the 10 percenters, the bloodsuckers, the lawyers, the professionals, kind of like W.E.B. Du Bois's talented 10th. And then you have the 5% who are the true and living gods, who know who God is, right? So it was just it was an amazing, and the marriage of hip hop, right? The marriage of hip hop and 5% doctrine. You got Rakim, you got Busta Rhymes, you got all of these groups that were, even the Wu-Tang. You got all of these guys who are espousing this 5% doctrine through hip-hop. And Just Ice was one of the first ones to do it. And what was so amazing about him, he got with the king of beats, Puerto Rican cat called Mantronics. Were you able to find the original Andy? Andy, were you able to find the original Cole Getting Dumb? No. Okay, but that was, what you heard was Cole Getting Dumb Part 2. And what was crazy about it, Redman came years later and remade it because it was such a hip-hop classic, man. I want you guys to look up that record. It's amazing. It's fire. That's Just Ice. And, of course, Just Ice, 2 different words. You put it together, it's justice. Ice freezes at 32 degrees. Like, they got a whole breakdown. Listen, it's an amazing study if you have time to check out, the 5% doctrine. But hip-hop back in the day, that's why you didn't hear a lot of curse words, because brothers were on their lessons. And I appreciate that stuff, man. It was amazing. It was amazing. Nazarene X, Atlanta, Georgia. We were working with you, right? And you were breaking something down about conditional love and getting tired. A lot of times people think healthy boundaries are conditions. And they're 2 different things, A healthy boundary and they're 2 different things. Do you know I was about to ask you, do you know the difference between a healthy boundary and a condition?
Not off the top. My gut basically says a healthy boundary is something you basically draw or put in place to keep things in order. Like, it's more of a in-house protection, and the condition seems like predisposed to keep people out.
See?
Or like protect them.
See? So why you act like you didn't know?
Well, I don't have a word.
Yeah, you did.
Love.
Yeah, you do have the words, brother. A healthy boundary, anything that's healthy has the ability to grow, has the ability to evolve and expand. There is flexibility in that which is healthy. But a condition comes from conditioning, i.e. patterns. And if you come from a toxic household with toxic patterns, you will have toxic, inflexible conditions. DC.
I hear that big time. It's like the condition. I think about somebody running around with the stiff arm out, like on some Heisman Trophy type stuff. Like, stiff arms to everybody. You're just trying to get to the goal line. Like, even if your teammate got to fall on it, like you just going. But the boundary is more like, again, like a football type analogy, is like that O-line, that offensive line where we got to protect the quarterback in the pocket, or, you know what I'm saying, we moving people out the way so that somebody can come through. Like I definitely get that, bro.
Man, I love it when you call in, man, because I love the back and forth. I love the questions. I question you, you question me. And this is a conversation, brother. You brought Atlanta, Georgia in the building. We appreciate
if I may?
Yes.
Think just off of that last question, because again, he who thinks really had me thinking on that, and I wanted to see if maybe we could up the ante too, because there's a whole thing about creating a codependent. Maybe that's where things get tricky, because I personally, from the whole getting tired of quote unquote helping somebody, I found the struggle where I feel like I'm dealing with the inner child of a woman. And I want to be with the woman versus the child in that sense. So it's like, even those analogies of, I'll be there or I'll do as much as I can, but at some point I feel like it is realistic to expect an adult, or to say, like, to give room for yourself to say, like, all right, at some point you a grown woman or a grown man. So yes, you're able to make your own decisions. I think that's where, again, if things just aren't in alignment with one another, it doesn't necessarily mean that the essence of love or respect and well wishes for somebody needs to go away. I don't think it needs to turn into malice, like if the more intimate interactions have to, say, go separate ways. But again, I think that's where the standards, again, whether it's healthy boundaries or not, it's like having standards about yourself, things that you want to give energy to within your own world. But sometimes it's like, when you're dealing with somebody, you're trying as much as you can, and things just aren't necessarily clicking. What I found is that it seems like more. I don't see the woman. I see more of the child in that sense. So that's where I think inside I've tended to draw back. Well, if I feel like that's something.
Let me add on just a little bit right there. First off, you enter the relationship with whomever you're in relationship with at your level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a misnomer that somebody is raising somebody else. You might be more proficient in one thing or another, but vibrationally and on a frequency level, you guys are at the same level. And many people don't understand that. You might be good at a skill, and they may not be. However, that doesn't mean you're above them, because if you were above them, you wouldn't be in a relationship with them. If you were beneath them, you wouldn't be in a relationship with them. When you're in relationship, you're at the same level. Nazarene X, once again, brother, I appreciate you. Atlanta, Georgia, when we come forward.
One love.
Yes, sir. We going back to the phone lines. People are calling in. They want to talk about tonight's topic. Are you tired of helping your partner? How long you going to have to do it? When they going to get it? When they going to figure it out? We'll get to it because we got a lot to talk about.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Black women get the job done. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by Lendistry. Story courtesy of CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. Representative Barbara Lee holds her first campaign rally at Laney College in Oakland, California, declaring, "We fight for freedom, dignity, justice, and together we win." Representative Lee said that that's why she's running for U.S. Senate. She is the highest-ranking African-American woman in the U.S. Congress and the only African-American so far in the 2024 California senatorial race. Lee, who is 76, is serving her 12th term in the U.S. Congress. I'm Aisha Kyle for KBLA 1580, and that's your K-Black Minute News.
Thanks to our new sponsor, Lendistry. Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered in Los Angeles. Lendistry helps small business owners access the affordable capital needed to grow. Visit Lendistry, LENDISTRY.com/KBLA today.
California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast. To learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com. California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast. To learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
So listen, the voice of reason returns to KBLA Talk 1580. This is what K-Day sounded like back in the day. If you could just imagine the shell top Adidas, the Adidas jumpsuit, the Kango to match the Adidas, the Dookie chain, you understand? And just in case this record comes on across the street in Leimert Park, you got the white gloves in your back pocket so you can start tick-tocking, so you can start pop-lock. This is what hip-hop was originally about. The spirit of it was dancing. You got to remember, 50 years ago, and it's crazy, hip-hop is 50 in August. You have to remember, man, hip-hop replaced gangs. Hip-hop replaced gangs in New York. And now gangs are back. Bloods and Crips are in New York. the creation of hip hop moved out the gangs. And that's why when you see early movies about hip hop like Wild Style, these are crews that are battling each other instead of fighting each other. So they battle through rap routines, or they battle through dance routines. And this is why someone like Mantronics, Curtis Mantronics, his first name is Curtis. His last name isn't really Mantronics, but Curtis Mantronics is what he goes by, right? This is why he's so significant to hip-hop, because he was at the time the best. He was the master of sound. We loved him, and he was integral to hip-hop's maturation to where it is today. And I really feel like some of the Jay-Z's of the world, because Jay-Z's older than me, so he knows. He knows. It's like, go back and get some of these guys and give them their flowers while they're still alive, because, like I said, hip-hop just meant so much, and it still means a lot, and there's still a lot of power in it if we just shift our focus. Now, back to the topic. Oh, we got phone callers. Let me ask this question. True or false? Conditional love is a type of love that is based on conditions or circumstances that a person feels the need to be present in order to give love to someone else. Love from this person may disappear during difficult moments, and the person may withhold love in order to gain something. It's conditional. What have you done for me lately? What are you going to do for me? Agree or disagree? Conversely, unconditional love is love without conditions. A person is able to love you at your lowest and at your highest, and they give love freely. Freely meaning I don't want anything back. Conditions are connected. Listen to what I'm about to say. Conditions, inflexible conditions, are connected to superficial reciprocity, i.e. transactionalism in relationship. When you're dealing with unconditional love, you're not worried about getting anything back because you are what you gave. I don't want to get too deep. All right, let's get these callers in here. Who's been on the longest? Sean, Oakland, California. Get in here.
Hey, brother, what a great topic. First of all, I want to say, everyone out there, please listen or read The Relationship Dismount, your book, Zoe.
Oh, you've been reading it?
I'm not quite done yet, but so I don't want to, and I'm not going to give away all the things. But one thing, let me just talk about the beginning, because that's very important, and I think everything we're talking about here, it's so important. Look, the brain is not a hard-boiled thing like when you're young, you cannot, change what you learn. But I'll tell you what, your experiences mean everything. And I read about your experiences, brother, and I think everyone should understand, because we all have a unique experience in life and what shapes us early about how to move through this atmosphere going forward. And one of them, had to do with your childhood, about understanding kind of a polished, kind of a nice suburban upbringing, even though that wasn't how it all started for you. And the reason why I bring that up is because, I grew up in a similar but completely different thing. And here's what I'm going to say. My father had 3 boys before the age of 21. Okay, my father met my mother at a certain point after that. Obviously his relationship didn't work, okay? But my dad did have a pretty doggone good dismount from that first relationship. Think about that. 3 boys before the age of 21.
Yeah,
and he took care of all those boys. All right, and yet, because he was a football star and couldn't go and play football, he got a job. He went and worked for the waterworks. He went, this is back, I'm 55, so this is back in the 60s. But he went and got a job and took care of his sons and tried to make it work. But, that's very hard to make something work at that young of an age. But it does matter, because my mom and dad met, and it didn't work out because my dad just really couldn't be with one woman. I don't hold a grudge with him about that. It just didn't work out. And I got older. I didn't know why we all broke up, but it shaped me, brother. It totally destroyed me at one point, and it totally made me grow at another as I got older. And my dad finally admitted when I was like in my late 20s, I did cheat on your mother. My mother didn't take any of that cheating stuff, and that was it. But this is the point that we all go, every one of us has a story that's super unique and mostly complicated and a lot of times crisis-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So just remember all of that. Well, and I just want to tell everyone your book is so good, man. It just made me cry, made me happy. It made me see what a strong man you are and a good dad. I'm just saying that all of these experiences help us grow as long as you accept those. And by the way, don't be thinking that you're worried about how someone else makes you feel. That's up to you, right, Zoe?
Come on.
It's up to you to make you feel really good so you can put yourself out there to help other people in a role model situation, help them make their life better.
Man, Sean, I appreciate that, man. You are one of the only people who have ever called in that said they actually read the book. So I appreciate that, Sean. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, man.
Good stuff.
Wow. Sean from Oakland, California, if you want to bring you too, man.
Good stuff.
Wow. Sean from Oakland, California, if you want to bring your town in the business, in the building, and get down with me. The number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. Listen, Sean is touching on something, man, that's really powerful here. Conditions typically come from what we've modeled from our childhood, And I've been saying for a long time, man, do not be a prisoner to your upbringing, to your modeling. I said, look at your modeling in the same way you look at Hometown Buffet. Pick and choose what you want. Bruce Lee said, take the good and leave the rest. Take what you can use and leave the rest. Many times we take all of that stuff and we don't think we have the power of self-authorship, but the reality of it is we do, and we should implement it. Otherwise, we're going to get tired like our parents got tired of us, like our parents got frustrated with us. We're going to carry that same contempt into our adult relationships, not just so we can weaponize it against our partner, but really to overcome it. That's why we attracted them. When we come forward, Zoe Williams is going to keep this fire lit, and I'm going to be talking to people from Grand Prairie, Texas, Jacksonville, Florida, Austin, Texas, all over the country. We talking to you.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The clock is ticking for TikTok. A growing number of Republican lawmakers want to give the president the ability